All right, guys, let's move forward, make some forward progress with take number two. We're talking about the college football playoff rankings. This was the second reveal that they had coming out for this past week. If you guys weren't with us that Tuesday, we did live stream that and we talked about it. We had callers calling in. It was a great time. Hopefully, we can get a chance to do that again at some point later in the season. And the top 25 at that time was as follows: Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, Indiana, BYU, Tennessee, Notre Dame, Miami, Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia, Boise State, SMU, Texas A&M, Kansas State, Colorado, Washington State, Louisville, Clemson, South Carolina, LSU, Missouri, Army, and Tulane. When it came to being the top 12 seeds, Oregon was number one, followed by Texas. BYU was the third seed. That will be no longer as they were upset on Saturday. You had Miami as the fourth seed, Ohio State as the fifth seed, Penn State at six, Indiana at seven, Tennessee at eight, which that probably won't be anymore after Georgia beat them, Notre Dame at nine, Alabama at 10, Ole Miss at 11, and Boise State rounding things out at 12. Um, and then, like I said, it was so many things that got shook up over this weekend because of some of the upsets and the victories that we had. There was some motion in the AP top 25. Georgia moving back into the top 10 at number 8. Tennessee moving down to 10. BYU falling down to 14. So, with all of those things in mind, Elijah, who ultimately do you think is going to be the team that sneaks their way into that top 12, or who is kind of your first team out that will ultimately fall out of it?
I think my first team out is Tennessee, as we right now. But I think who sneaks in? I mean, I don't really call it sneak in though, but I think Colorado could make it in. One team that I think what I hope that make it in is South Carolina as well because of the way they've been playing and their strength of schedule wasn't. It was pretty good, for them to only lose two ball games. So with Tennessee being first one out, speaking on that one, it's just the strength of schedule wasn't the best. They played Alabama, of course, they beat Alabama, they lost to Georgia. But other than that, if you're talking about the committee, like they're not going to put them in because of the strength of schedule. When you got Georgia, who played Texas, who played Alabama, who played South Carolina, they did they play South Carolina? No, they didn't play South Carolina yet. I don't think Georgia.
No, they have not. I don't know. Do they play each other this year?
No, so never mind. So yeah, I think with Georgia playing, those teams, Texas and Alabama, and then getting those wins against those two squad. Well, against losing against Alabama, but beating Texas, the top team. So in the SEC, I think Georgia gets themselves in there. I think Alabama gets themselves in there. I think Ole Miss is squeezed by in there, but I think Colorado's the last team in, and I think that is the best thing they can do, especially with Travis Hunter and Shador. To me, you have two guys on that roster that can compete and qualify for the Heisman Trophy. So why not put him with the best of the best? So Colorado didn't do anything that well surprised some people. I mean, not me too much, but it surprised some people. Now I'm just wanting to see what happens. What happens when they get in there and who they play first round because them sneaking in there. I know that's not enough for Travis. I know it's not enough for Shador. And I know it's not enough for Dion. They want more than just sneaking in there and just saying we're happy to be in this round. So I think Colorado rounds it out. I think they'll be like the number 11 seed or 10 seed, and I just can't wait to see how that plays out when they bring out the new brackets.
Yeah, man, it should be interesting. I'm looking at so many teams that could potentially shuffle their way through it. I mean, even if you look at like a Texas A&M, they could potentially play against each other in back-to-back weeks if things shake up funny in the SEC, because they play each other in the final week of the regular season, and they're in the standings. Texas only has one loss in the SEC, and Texas A&M has one loss in the SEC. Behind them, it's Georgia, Tennessee, and Alabama. So the SEC is still very much wide open. I think that if the Aggies can put things together, I think that they will sneak their way into the CFP. Um, Also, another sleeper team that I'm looking at, I mean, is Tulane. I have to tip my cap to them. You know, if they beat Kansas State earlier in the year, they're probably a top 15 team in the country right now. Hats off to John Summerall coming in, picking up where Willie Fritz left off, and getting this team right back into the national spotlight once again, clinching a position into the AAC championship game to play against Army, I believe it is, that they will play for their championship, to be able to come in and get that done so very early in his tenure there in New Orleans speaks volumes. I wouldn't be surprised if we see them mess around and flip that spot with Boise State. If Boise State can somehow slip up there, I wouldn't be surprised if Tulane gets that final spot in the CFP. And who knows what can happen when you get there, because like we said, they're a couple of plays away from beating Kansas State, who, you know, they're not ranked now, but at some point during the season when they played them, they were. So all it takes is just a little bit of magic and a random Saturday night to make some weird things happen. I also do agree with you that I believe Colorado will get in through the Big 12. I think that they will be able to qualify because I think they're going to win the Big 12. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think if they win it, they might get a top 3 to 4 seed, if I'm not mistaken. Could you imagine Boulder, Colorado, getting the opportunity in just Dion's second year to get a first round bye and then play in a meaningful bowl game, a college football playoff game? Man, um, hats off to those guys there in Boulder, and what Coach Prime is doing. We'll continue to keep our eyes on everything that's going on with the college football playoff rankings and reveals and all of those things like that. That's where we will continue to have our eyes to see what team will make it, what teams will not make it. Thank you so much for watching this clip of the Fitz Take podcast. Be sure to like this video and also subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also follow me and Elijah on our social media platforms. They will be linked down in the description. And remember, every episode of the Fitz Take podcast will air right here on the YouTube channel every Monday at 2 p.m. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.